I never planned on becoming invisible in my own home. It happened gradually, like watching a photograph fade in the sun. The irony? While my family saw less and less of who I really was, I was secretly building an empire that would make their jaws drop. My name is Addison, and this morning I watched my 16-year-old daughter, Leah, roll her eyes at me for the 100th time while her friend Sophia sat at our kitchen island. "Mom, can you, not hover? We're trying to study," Leah said, not even looking up from her textbook. "Yeah, sure," I replied, sliding a plate of fresh-baked cookies toward them. "Just thought you might want a snack." "God, Mom, you're so basic," Leah muttered. "This isn't the 1950s. You don't have to play housewife all the time." I caught Sophia's uncomfortable glance as she reached for a cookie. At least someone felt awkward about my daughter's attitude. "Your mom's cookies are amazing, though," Sophia offered kindly. "Whatever. That's literally all she does all day. Dad says she's lucky he makes enough money so she can just stay home and bake." The words stung, but I kept my face neutral as I wiped down the counter. My phone buzzed in my pocket, probably Clark with updates about our latest acquisition. I'd have to wait to check it. "Actually," I said carefully, "I have some errands to run. You girls okay here?" Leah waved me off dismissively. As I grabbed my car keys, I heard her continue. "Must be nice, right? Just running errands and watching Netflix all day while Dad actually works?" I closed the door behind me and let out a long breath. If they only knew that the errands involved finalizing a $50 million deal that would reshape the tech industry landscape. 20 minutes later, I sat in my secret office downtown, a sleek, modern space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Clark paced in front of my desk, his excitement palpable. "Addison, the board approved it. We're acquiring TechFront." He ran his hands through his salt and pepper hair. "Flynn doesn't even know what hit him. He still thinks he's negotiating with some faceless corporation." I allowed myself a small smile. "Perfect. And the paperwork?" "Ready for your signature, but—" Clark hesitated. "Don't you think it's time to tell your family? This makes you one of the most influential tech entrepreneurs in the country." I spun my chair to face the window, watching the city buzz below. "Actually, I've been thinking about that. The way they treat me lately, maybe it's time for a wake-up call." My phone rang. Uriel's ringtone. My husband calling from his mid-level management job where he felt like a big shot. "Hey, honey," I answered, keeping my voice sweet. "Need something? Did you remember to pick up my dry cleaning? I have that presentation tomorrow." "Of course," I replied, signing the acquisition papers with my free hand. "Anything else?" "No, that's it. Don't wait up tonight. Important dinner meeting." I hung up and turned to Clark. "You know what? You're right. It's time they knew. But we're going to do this my way." Clark raised an eyebrow. "Why do I feel like you're plotting something?" "Because I am." I picked up my phone again and dialed Maya. When she answered, I didn't waste time. "Remember that plan we discussed? I'm ready. Let's set it in motion." "Are you sure?" Maya asked. "Once you do this, there's no going back." "I'm sure. I'm tired of being invisible. It's time they saw me, really saw me." After hanging up, I looked at Clark. "Call a board meeting for next week, and make sure to invite Flynn. He should be there when he realizes who just bought his company." "And your family?" "They'll be there too, they just don't know it yet." I stood up, smoothing my designer blazer. It's time they learned that the lazy, stay-at-home mom they mock is actually the one keeping their comfortable lifestyle afloat. Clark grinned. "This is going to be interesting." "Oh, it will be," I said, gathering my things. "But first I need to go home and play my part. Leah needs help with her calculus homework, and Uriel needs his shirts pressed for tomorrow." As I drove home, I felt a mix of anticipation and nervousness. Was I really ready to shatter the illusion I'd carefully maintained for years? The weight of my secret empire had grown too heavy to carry alone. My phone buzzed again, another message from the board about the acquisition. I smiled, thinking about how next week would change everything. Sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold. It's served with a side of humble pie at a board meeting no one sees coming. "I thought we could do something special as a family next week," I announced over dinner, watching Uriel scroll through his phone while Leah pushed her food around her plate. Uriel barely looked up. Next Thursday. I made reservations downtown for lunch. I thought it might be nice. Leah's head snapped up. I can't. I have cheer practice. Actually, I said, taking a sip of water, I already spoke with your coach. She said you could miss one practice. You what? Leah's fork clattered against her plate. Mom, you can't just... And I have meetings, Uriel interrupted, finally looking up from his phone. I smiled sweetly. I checked with your assistant, Sarah. Your calendar is clear after 11. That got his attention. You called my assistant? I wanted to make sure we could all be there. It's important. Important? Leah scoffed. What could be so important about lunch with you? Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. A message from Maya. Urgent. Flynn making moves. Trying to block the acquisition. Need to talk ASAP. I kept my face neutral, though my heart raced. It's a surprise. Trust me, you'll want to be there. Whatever, Leah muttered, returning to her phone. Later that night, I paced in my home office, speaking quietly with Maya on the phone. Flynn's lawyers are claiming the deal is fraudulent, Maya explained. They're demanding to meet the CEO in person. He's just throwing a tantrum because he doesn't know who outmaneuvered him, I replied. Have Clark handle it for now. Next week, Flynn will get his meeting, along with my family. About that, are you sure mixing these two situations is wise? I heard footsteps in the hallway and quickly switched to my mom voice. Yes, honey, I'll make sure to pick up more milk tomorrow. Leah appeared in the doorway. Mom, who are you talking to? Just Mrs. Peterson from the neighborhood watch, I lied smoothly. Did you need something? She lingered, looking uncertain. About Thursday. Do I really have to come? I saw a flicker of genuine curiosity in her eyes. Yes, sweetheart, but I promise it'll be worth it. After she left, I texted Maya, proceed as planned, and upgrade the security for Thursday. The next morning, I drove downtown after dropping Leah at school. Clark was waiting in my office, looking worried. Flynn's getting aggressive, he said without preamble. He's threatening to go to the press. Let him, I replied, logging into my computer. By Thursday, it won't matter. There's something else. Clark handed me an envelope. This came this morning. Inside was a typed note. Back off from TechFront, or your secret life won't be secret much longer. I laughed, surprising Clark. Flynn's getting desperate. He still doesn't realize he's dealing with a woman, does he? No, but... Then let him play his games. Thursday will be quite educational for everyone. My phone rang. Uriel again. Honey, about Thursday. I really don't think I can make it. The quarterly reports... Uriel, I cut him off, my voice firm but gentle. One lunch, that's all I'm asking. When was the last time we did something as a family? He sighed. Fine, but this better be good. Oh, it will be. I hung up and turned to Clark. Make sure the conference room is ready. And Clark, let's add some dramatic flair. I want the big screen showing our company's portfolio when they walk in. You're enjoying this, aren't you? 16 years of being underestimated, dismissed, and treated like I'm nothing but a housewife. I smiled. Yes, I'm going to enjoy every second. That evening, I overheard Leah talking to Sophia on the phone in her room. Mom's being weird. She's planning this mysterious lunch downtown. No, I have no idea what it's about. Dad thinks she's probably just lonely or something. I know, right? Like get a hobby or something. I closed my eyes, letting the words wash over me. Soon they would understand. Soon they would see. My phone buzzed with another threatening message. Last warning, walk away now. I typed back a single response. Looking forward to meeting you on Thursday, Flynn. Then I walked into the kitchen, put on my apron, and started baking cookies. The perfect housewife, preparing for her moment of truth. Let them think I'm nothing. Let them underestimate me one last time. Because on Thursday, the mask comes off. And nobody, not Flynn, not Uriel, not even Leah, is ready for what's behind it. Maya sat across from me in our favorite coffee shop, the same one where we'd first hatched the plan for my company 7 years ago. Remember when you walked in here furious because Uriel told you to stick to what you're good at after you suggested investing in tech stocks? I smiled, stirring my latte. He lost 50,000 that year in bad investments. I made my first million. While he thought you were taking cooking classes. Maya leaned forward. But Addison, are you ready for what this revelation might do to your family? The bell above the door chimed and Clark rushed in, looking flustered. Sorry I'm late. Flynn's lawyers are being relentless. They always get aggressive right before they lose, I said, sliding him a coffee. Remember that deal in 2019? How could I forget? You were in the hospital having your appendix removed and still managed to close the deal. Clark chuckled. Uriel thought you were delirious from pain meds when you kept talking about market projections. He told the nurse I was just rambling nonsense. I gripped my cup tighter. That's when I knew I could never tell him. Not until I was so successful he couldn't possibly dismiss it. Maya touched my hand. And now you're there. Your company's worth billions. Mom? Leah's voice cut through the coffee shop noise like a knife. I turned to see my daughter standing there, shopping bags in hand. She was supposed to be at the mall with Sophia, but apparently they'd decided to stop for coffee. What are you doing here? She asked, eyes darting between my companions. I thought you were grocery shopping. Just catching up with some friends, I said smoothly. You remember Maya from the neighborhood barbecue last summer? Leah nodded slowly, her eyes fixed on Clark. And him? Clark, he's an old friend. Right. Leah's tone dripped with skepticism. Well, don't let me interrupt your... whatever this is. As she walked away to join Sophia at another table, I heard her loud whisper. She's being so weird lately. First the mysterious lunch, now secret meetings. Clark waited until she was out of earshot. She's suspicious. Good, I replied. Let her be curious. It'll make Thursday even more interesting. Maya's phone buzzed. Her eyes widened as she read the message. Flynn just called an emergency press conference for tomorrow morning. Perfect timing, I said, pulling out my laptop. Let's give him something to really talk about. I opened my email and drafted a quick message to our board members, copying Flynn's entire executive team. The subject line read, Special Announcement, Thursday Board Meeting. Are you sure about this? Clark asked. Send it, I commanded, hitting the button. And make sure the media gets wind of it too. Flynn wants to play hardball? Let's play. Later that evening, as I prepared dinner, I found myself transported back to the day this all began. Uriel had laughed when I suggested investing our savings in a struggling tech startup. Stick to the grocery budget, honey, he'd said, patting my head like I was a child. Leave the real business to me. That night I'd called Maya, who connected me with Clark. Together we built something extraordinary, all while I maintained my facade of domestic bliss. Mom? Leah's voice pulled me from my memories. She stood in the kitchen doorway looking uncertain. About that coffee shop today, yes? You seemed different with those people, like you were talking about something important. I turned to face her fully. What makes you say that? I don't know. You just seemed more alive? Not like regular mom you. For a moment, I considered telling her everything right then. Instead, I said, Sometimes people are more than what we see on the surface, sweetheart. She rolled her eyes, the moment of insight gone. Whatever. Is dinner ready? I'm starving. My phone buzzed. A news alert about Flynn's upcoming press conference. Below it, a message from Maya. He's going to try to discredit the mystery buyer before Thursday. I smiled, chopping vegetables with renewed vigor. Let him try. He had no idea he was about to face off against the woman he'd dismissed as just another housewife at a charity gala 3 years ago. Mom? Leah called from the dining room. Dad's working late again. Of course he is, I muttered, then louder. That's fine, honey. More for us. As I served dinner, my phone lit up with another threat from Flynn. You can't hide forever. Tomorrow I expose everything. I typed back, looking forward to your press conference. Break a leg. Because tomorrow, Flynn would make his move. But Thursday? Thursday would be my checkmate. And my family would have front row seats to the show. Thursday arrived with the weight of destiny. I adjusted Uriel's tie in the elevator of my office building, playing the doting wife one last time. I still don't understand why we're having lunch here, he grumbled. The plaza would have been nicer. Leah stood in the corner, tapping away on her phone. This building's kind of impressive, though. Look at all these tech companies. 32nd floor, I announced as the elevator dinged. Follow me. Wait, Uriel stopped short, staring at the directory. This is the tech front acquisition floor. There's a huge meeting about that today. We shouldn't be here. I smiled, leading them down the hallway. Actually, we should. Security nodded at me as we approached the conference room. Through the glass walls, I could see Flynn pacing, his face red with anger. Board members filled the seats and reporters waited eagerly in the corner. Mom, Leah whispered, I think we're in the wrong place. We're exactly where we need to be. I pushed open the door and every head turned. Flynn froze mid-stride. What is this? Who let these people in? Clark stood up. Everyone, please welcome our CEO. The room fell silent. Uriel grabbed my arm. Addison, we need to leave. This is a private meeting. No, I said, shrugging off his hand. This is my meeting. Flynn's face contorted. You? You're the mystery buyer? The one who's been trying to take my company? Not trying, I corrected, walking to the head of the table. Succeeding. Leah's phone clattered to the floor. Mom? I pulled out the chair at the head of the table. Please, everyone, sit. We have a lot to discuss. This is ridiculous, Flynn sputtered. You're nothing but a housewife. I met you at the charity gala. Your husband works in middle management. Uriel's face flushed. Addison, what's going on? I nodded to Clark, who clicked a button. The screens around the room lit up with my company's portfolio, achievements, and acquisitions over the past 7 years. 7 years ago, I addressed the room, I started this company with a vision. While everyone thought I was taking cooking classes and running errands, I was building an empire. And today, that empire acquires TechFront. You're lying, Flynn snapped. This is impossible. I pulled out a folder. These documents say otherwise. Your board already approved the sale. They just didn't know who they were selling to. Reporters scribbled frantically. Cameras flashed. Leah had sunk into a chair, her face pale. But the cookies, she whispered. The carpools. The PTA meetings. I did it all, I said, my voice firm. I ran this company and maintained our home because that's what everyone expected of me. No one thought to look deeper because no one thought I was capable of more. Uriel stood frozen, his world visibly crumbling. All this time? Yes, I met his eyes. All this time. Flynn slammed his hands on the table. This is a setup. You can't possibly... The financials, I cut him off, sliding papers across the table. The projections, the merger details, everything you dismissed when I tried to discuss them at that gala, saying I should stick to planning parties. The board members examined the documents, nodding with approval. Flynn's face grew redder. You'll regret this, he hissed, storming toward the door. I'll fight it. Your board has already voted, Clark announced. It's done. As Flynn slammed the door behind him, I turned to my family. Leah's eyes were wide with shock and something else. Was it admiration? Mom, she started. Mrs. Davidson, a reporter interrupted. How did you manage to keep this secret for so long? I held up my hand. I'll answer questions later. Right now, I need a moment with my family. The board members and reporters filed out, leaving us alone in the massive conference room. The screens still displayed my achievements, casting a blue glow over our faces. All those times I called you lazy, Leah's voice cracked. When I told my friends you did nothing all day. Those words hurt, I admitted. But they also drove me. Every dismissive comment, every eye roll, every time you both treated me like I was nothing but a housewife, it fueled me. Uriel sank into a chair. The company I've been reading about in the papers, the mysterious tech giant everyone's been trying to identify. That was you? That was me. I stood tall, finally letting my power show. And now you know exactly who I am. The door burst open. Maya rushed in. Addison, Flynn's calling an emergency press conference. He's threatening to expose everything about your personal life. I smiled, feeling more alive than ever. Let him try. I'm done hiding. Looking at my stunned family, I added, we all have some catching up to do. Shall we have that lunch now? The private dining room felt smaller than usual with the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. Leah pushed her salad around the plate while Uriel stared at his untouched steak. So, I broke the silence. Any questions? How much? Uriel asked quietly. How much are you worth? The company's valued at just over $4 billion. I took a sip of water. My personal net worth is around $1.2 billion. Leah's fork clattered against her plate. Billion? With a B? That vacation house in Aspen you wanted last summer? I continued. I own it. Actually, I own the whole development. But you said we couldn't afford it, Leah whispered. No, I said we shouldn't flaunt our money. There's a difference. Maya burst into the room, tablet in hand. Flynn's live on CNBC right now. I nodded to Clark, who grabbed the remote and turned on the dining room's wall-mounted screen. Flynn's red face filled the screen, his tie askew. This hostile takeover is a fraud, he was saying. This woman, this supposed CEO, she's nothing but a housewife playing businesswoman. Mute it, I commanded. Let him rant. The papers are signed. Mom, Leah leaned forward. All those times you were on the phone in your office? Board meetings, acquisitions, running a global company, and the cooking classes? Cover stories, though I did actually learn to make a decent soufflé. Uriel finally looked up. Why didn't you tell me? Really? I set down my fork. Remember when I suggested investing in that startup 7 years ago? You laughed and told me to stick to grocery shopping. I didn't mean... Yes, you did. I turned to Leah. And you? Mom's so basic. All she does is bake cookies. Dad's the only one who actually works. Leah's eyes filled with tears. I'm so sorry. The door burst open again. Addison, Clark interrupted. Flynn's making moves. He's calling in favors, trying to freeze our assets. I stood up, smoothing my blazer. Excuse me for a moment. Feel free to order dessert. Can I watch? Leah asked hesitantly. I paused, then nodded. Come on. We walked to my office, Uriel trailing behind. I sat at my desk, fingers flying over the keyboard while Clark and Maya coordinated with our legal team. Transfer everything to the offshore accounts, I commanded. Execute Protocol Delta. What's happening? Leah whispered to Maya. Your mom's about to show Flynn why you don't underestimate her, Maya replied with a grin. I picked up my phone, putting it on speaker. Hello, Flynn. You think you've won? He snarled. I'm freezing every account. Already moved, I cut him off. And while you were giving your little TV tantrum, my team acquired controlling interest in your private holdings. Check your personal accounts. Silence then. What did you do? The same thing you tried to do to me. Except I succeeded. I leaned back. Would you like to rethink that press conference? You can't. I can. I did. And Flynn, remember when you told me at that gala that I should stick to planning bake sales? I made cookies this morning. Would you like some? They're victory flavored. The line went dead. Leah stared at me, mouth open. Even Uriel looked impressed. Holy shit, Leah breathed. My mom's a badass. Language, I corrected automatically, then smiled. But yes, I am. Maya's tablet pinged. Flynn's retracting his statements. The board's releasing a statement supporting the acquisition. And that, I said, standing up, is how you close a deal. All those times I bragged about Dad's job, Leah said quietly. You were running this empire? While also making your lunch, helping with homework, and yes, baking cookies. I turned to Uriel. I never needed your money. I never needed anyone to take care of me. I just wanted respect. Uriel stepped forward. Addison, Mrs. Davidson? My assistant poked her head in. The press is requesting a statement. I looked at my family. Would you like to see what Mom actually does all day? Leah nodded eagerly. Uriel managed a weak smile. As we walked toward the press room, Leah grabbed my hand. Mom, those cookies you made this morning, were they really victory cookies? No, honey. I squeezed her hand. Those were I love you even when you underestimate me, cookies. The victory cookies are still in the oven at home. Speaking of home, Uriel said softly, I suppose that explains why you insisted on that state-of-the-art kitchen renovation last year. Actually, I smiled, that was just because I really do love baking. Being a CEO doesn't mean I can't also enjoy being a mom. I'm just done pretending that's all I am. The press room doors loomed ahead. Behind them, cameras waited to capture the moment the mysterious CEO finally showed her face. Ready? I asked my family. Ready, they answered, and this time, I believed them. The press conference was a blur of flashing cameras and rapid-fire questions. I stood at the podium, my family watching from the side, as I finally stepped into the light. Yes, I'm the CEO of Summit Technologies, I announced to the packed room. And yes, I'm also a mother and wife who bakes cookies and attends PTA meetings. Mrs. Davidson, a reporter called out, how did you manage to keep this secret for so long? Society's expectations made it easy, I replied. No one looks too closely at a housewife. Suddenly the door burst open. Flynn stormed in, flanked by his lawyers. This isn't over, he announced. We're contesting the acquisition. My lawyers have found irregularities. You mean like your attempt to hide losses in offshore accounts? I interrupted, nodding to Clark, who projected documents onto the screen behind me. Or perhaps your creative accounting with the pension fund? Flynn's face went pale. How did you— I did my homework, Flynn. Every detail, every transaction, every skeleton in your corporate closet. I turned to the reporters. In fact, I have a complete dossier ready for anyone interested in the real story behind TechFront's management. You're bluffing, Flynn sputtered. I pulled out my phone and read, March 15th, meeting in Singapore. You diverted employee pension funds to cover personal losses. April 3rd, backdated contracts to hide. Stop! Flynn's lawyer grabbed his arm. We should discuss this privately. My office, I said coolly. 10 minutes. As they hurried out, Leah stepped forward. Mom, that was incredible. That was nothing, Maya chimed in. You should have seen her handle the Tokyo merger last year. Did it while making your Halloween costume? The robot costume? Leah's eyes widened. The one you said took you 3 weeks to figure out? It did. The merger took 4. I turned back to the reporters. Any other questions? How does your family feel about the revelation? All eyes turned to Uriel and Leah. My daughter surprised me by stepping up to the microphone. I feel ashamed, she said clearly. I underestimated my mom because she didn't fit my idea of what success looks like. But now I see that she's the most successful person I know, not just in business, but in life. The reporters scribbled frantically. I felt tears threatening but held them back. Mrs. Davidson, another reporter called. What about the threats Flynn made? Let's discuss those in my office, I replied. I believe Mr. Flynn and his lawyers should be waiting. As security cleared the room, Uriel touched my arm. Can we watch? I considered for a moment. Actually, yes. It's time you saw what I really do. In my office, Flynn and his lawyers sat nervously. I took my seat behind the desk, my family and team standing behind me. Here's how this will work, I began, sliding a document across the desk. You'll sign this agreement accepting the acquisition terms. In return, I'll keep your creative accounting practices private. You can't prove anything, Flynn's lawyer interjected. I pressed a button on my desk. A recording played, Flynn's voice clearly discussing the pension fund manipulation. That's illegal, Flynn shouted. So was recording it, his lawyer added. Actually, Clark stepped forward, that recording is from your own security system. We just acquired access when we acquired the company. Flynn slumped in his chair. What do you want? I want you to sign the papers, step down gracefully, and never threaten me or my company again. I pushed the document closer. You have 30 seconds to decide before I call the SEC. 28 seconds later, Flynn signed. As security escorted him out, Leah whispered, That was better than any movie I've ever seen. That was better than any movie I've ever been in, Maya added with a laugh. Uriel stepped forward. Addison, I need to say something. Not here, I replied, standing up. Clark, Maya, handle the press release. I'm taking my family home. In the elevator, Uriel tried again. I've been such a fool. Yes, I agreed. You have. All these years, I thought I was supporting our family, but you were carrying us all while letting you believe you were in charge, I finished. Yes. The elevator doors opened to the parking garage. Let's go home, I said. Those victory cookies should be cool enough to eat by now. As we drove home, Leah spoke up from the back seat. Mom, can I help you bake something tomorrow? Of course, honey, but first I have a morning meeting with investors in Tokyo. Can I watch that too? I caught her eye in the rearview mirror and smiled. Absolutely. It's time you learned that women can do anything, including running an empire while making the perfect chocolate chip cookies. Speaking of empire, Uriel said quietly, I think we have a lot to talk about. Yes, I agreed, pulling into our driveway. We certainly do. Back home, the familiar scent of cookies filled the air, but everything else felt different. Leah immediately pulled up news articles about me on her phone while Uriel paced the kitchen. You're trending on Twitter, Leah announced. People are calling you the cookie CEO and the stealth billionaire. We need to talk, Uriel interrupted, his voice strained. Really talk. I pulled the last batch of cookies from the oven. Yes, we do. I'll go to my room. Leah started to stand. No, I said firmly. You're part of this conversation too. Sit. We gathered around the kitchen island, the same spot where they'd dismissed me countless times. The irony wasn't lost on me. How could you not tell me? Uriel finally burst out. We're married. We're supposed to share everything. Share? I laughed sharply. Like how you shared your opinion that women don't understand business? Or how you shared your dismissal of every suggestion I made? That's not fair. Not fair? I slammed my hand on the counter, making them both jump. You want to talk about fair? Let's talk about the night I closed my first major deal. I was on the phone in my office for hours, orchestrating a $100 million acquisition. Do you remember what you said when I came to bed late? Uriel looked blank. You said, if you're going to waste time chatting with your friends all night, at least keep it down. Then you asked if I'd remembered to iron your shirts. Leah's eyes filled with tears. Dad, you didn't... And you, I turned to her. Remember last month when I missed your dance recital? You told everyone I was probably just watching soap operas and eating bonbons. Mom, I'm so sorry. I missed it because I was preventing a hostile takeover that would have cost 3,000 people their jobs. I watched the video of your performance during a board meeting break, hiding in my office bathroom so no one would see me cry because I couldn't be there. The silence that followed was deafening. Why did you stay? Uriel whispered. With your money, your power, why put up with our disrespect? Because I love you both, I said simply. And I kept hoping that someday you'd see me, really see me, without needing to know about my success. Leah reached for a cookie, then stopped. All those times you baked? Were you actually on business calls with your earpiece in? Usually. Multitasking becomes second nature when you're living a double life. I smiled slightly. The PTA actually has a lot in common with board meetings, just different stakes. I told my friends you were pathetic, Leah's voice cracked. I was the pathetic one. I was so busy trying to be cool that I couldn't see how amazing you are. Honey. No, Mom. Let me finish. She stood up, tears streaming now. You're like a superhero. You ran this massive company and took care of us and let us treat you like you were nothing. How can you ever forgive me? I reached across the counter and took her hand. Because that's what mothers do. We love unconditionally. I don't deserve it, she whispered. No, Uriel stood up. We don't deserve it. I've been a terrible husband, Addison. I was so wrapped up in my own importance that I made you feel small. God, all those times I bragged about providing for the family. While I quietly paid off the mortgage and funded your successful investments, I added. He winced. I've been such a fool. Yes, you have. I pulled out my phone as it buzzed. Excuse me, Tokyo's calling. They watched in awe as I switched to flawless Japanese, conducting a multi-million-dollar negotiation while sliding another plate of cookies their way. After I hung up, Leah spoke up. "Will you teach me? Not just the business stuff, but how to be strong like you? And humble," Uriel added quietly. "I have a lot to learn about that." I looked at my family, really looked at them. The arrogance was gone from Uriel's face, replaced by genuine remorse and admiration. Leah's usual teenage disdain had transformed into something like reverence. "Okay," I said. "Let's start over, but this time we do it as equals. No more hiding, no more dismissing each other." "Deal," they said in unison. My phone buzzed again, Clark with acquisition updates. But for once, it could wait. Right now, I had more important things to focus on. "So," I smiled, "who wants to learn how to make my famous victory cookies?" "Me," Leah jumped up. "But can you tell us about the Tokyo deal while we bake?" "Of course. Uriel," he rolled up his sleeves, "I'm ready to learn everything." And for the first time in years, we felt like a real family, one built on truth, respect, and maybe just a few $1 billion worth of cookies. The morning sun streamed through my office windows as I reviewed quarterly reports. A knock at the door made me look up. "Come in," I called, smiling as Leah poked her head in. "Hey, Mom, ready for the presentation?" Today marked Leah's first internship presentation at my company. She'd insisted on starting at entry level, wanting to earn her place rather than rely on nepotism. "Just finishing up here." I closed my laptop. "How are you feeling?" "Nervous, but good nervous." She smoothed her blazer, the one we'd picked out together. "Dad's already in the conference room." The fact that Uriel now attended company events as a supportive spouse rather than the assumed breadwinner still felt like a small victory. We walked to the conference room together, passing Maya, who gave Leah a thumbs up. Inside, Uriel sat among the board members, looking proud but appropriately reserved. "Good morning, everyone." I took my place at the head of the table. "Today we'll be hearing project presentations from our summer interns. First up, Leah." She stood confidently, connecting her laptop to the projector. No one in the room except family knew she was my daughter. She'd insisted on using a different last name for the internship. "Thank you, Mrs. Davidson," she began professionally. "My team has identified several opportunities in the emerging AR market." As she presented, I caught Uriel's eye. He smiled, nodding slightly. We both remembered the day everything changed, when I'd revealed my secret empire. But this moment, watching our daughter command a room of executives, felt even more powerful. "In conclusion," Leah finished, "the projected ROI for this initiative is 47% in the first year alone." The room erupted in applause. Clark, sitting near the back, shot me a knowing look. "Excellent work," I said, keeping my voice professional. "Any questions?" An older board member raised his hand. "Just one. When can we start implementation?" Leah blinked in surprise. "You want to implement my proposal?" "It's solid," I replied. "Unless anyone objects?" The board's unanimous approval made Leah's face light up, but she maintained her composure, just like I'd taught her. After the meeting, we gathered in my office, me, Uriel, and Leah. The professional facades fell away. "You crushed it!" Uriel hugged Leah. "That was amazing!" "Thanks, Dad." She turned to me. "Mom, what did you really think?" "Honestly?" I perched on my desk. "Better than my first presentation, and you did it without hiding who you are." "Speaking of hiding," Uriel said, pulling out a small box, "we have something for you." Inside was a nameplate for my desk. It read, "Addison Davidson, CEO, Mother, Cookie Connoisseur." "Because you shouldn't have to be just one thing," Leah explained. Tears threatened, but I held them back. "It's perfect," my phone buzzed. Flynn's old company was officially being merged with ours today, the last piece of that chapter falling into place. "Mrs. Davidson," my assistant's voice came through the intercom. "The press is here for the merger announcement." "Ready for another press conference?" I asked my family. "Actually," Leah said, "I baked cookies for it. Victory cookies. Your recipe." I raised an eyebrow. "When did you have time?" "This morning before my presentation. I've learned from the best about multitasking." We walked to the press room together. No more secrets between us. The cameras flashed as we entered, but they didn't bother me anymore. I took my place at the podium, my family proudly by my side. Today marks not just a merger of companies, I began, but a testament to what's possible when we stop underestimating people, including ourselves. Leah distributed the cookies to the surprised reporters while I continued the announcement. Some things hadn't changed. I still baked, still attended PTA meetings, still helped with homework. But now I did it all openly, proudly. After the press conference back in my office, Uriel asked, "Do you ever regret waiting so long to tell us the truth?" "No," I replied, straightening my new nameplate. "We all needed to grow into who we are now. You needed to learn humility. Leah needed to learn respect. And I needed to learn that being underestimated doesn't make you weak. It makes you dangerous." "In a good way," Leah added quickly. "In the best way," I agreed. "Now who's ready for lunch? I hear there's a great little cookie shop downtown." "Mom," Leah groaned, then grinned. "Actually, that sounds perfect." As we headed out, I caught my reflection in the office window. CEO, mother, wife, baker of victory cookies. Finally, perfectly, completely myself. And that was the sweetest victory of all.